What's up, my friends? We're on a 13-3 run right here on YouTube, and I've got Thursday night football plays for the Lions and Packers. Let's go. All right, we're using mysmartedge.com. We're going to be looking at all sorts of player props today, all their prop trends, all the best odds, and then we're going to talk about why we're on them. We'll make a parlay at the end of the video. We'll talk about underdog picks that we can use over there. It's going to be a loaded show, so buckle up. Do me a huge favor before we talk about Jordan Love right now. Like the video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Those things help me out immensely, and if you want my true love, after the video's over, drop a comment down below with who you think's going to win this game. That's it. Reply Packers or Lions. I think we're all going to win just by watching this one. It's going to be a good one. All right, we're looking at FanDuel Sportsbook. Before we start looking at all the props, let's talk about the game for a hot second. Lions hosting the Packers' second game in the division. Packers lost at home 24-14 to these same Lions about 5 weeks ago. Fast forward, and now we have the Packers plus 3.5-point dogs on the road in Detroit against potentially the second best team in the NFL behind the Buffalo Bills. Go Bills. Lions are minus 178 home favorites. Total of 51.5. Very healthy for a Thursday night football game. We're going to talk about that later. We're going to make a parlay here as well. All right, first up, Jordan Love. What do we do here? Been an interesting ride for Jordan Love. Pass attempt volume is way down after he was throwing the ball, just slinging it all over the yard to start the year. The Lions are giving up the fourth most pass attempts per game this year, so the opportunity could be there. A lot of that has to do with the Lions are always in the lead, and when they're leading in the game, what do the opposing teams do? They throw the football to come back. And I'm just going to toggle over pass attempts. There you go. You can see, I mean, the beginning of the year, it was a gorgeous play. 17, 23, and 28 the last 3 weeks as Josh Jacobs is just rumbling his way into the end zone, and they're starting to run the ball a ton. This could be a tougher game to do that. I think the pendulum kind of swings back. It's going to be somewhere in there. I like the line of 31.5 on FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 114 to the over. That's not my favorite play, though, but that's definitely up there. And I understand why people are nervous. I mean, look at the last 5 games. That's a ton of red, under in 4 of 5, so people will be off it. I'm not on it either. I get it. And I just think there's a better play. So let's look at it really quickly. I'm going to toggle over right here to the longest pass market. And let me tell you why this is my favorite Jordan Love play of the week. Despite the fact that I just showed you, he had 22, 39, 17, 23, and 8, 28. So 28 or fewer attempts in 4 of the last 5. My guy still takes shots downfield here. 67, 41, 60, and 49-yard passes. They do a lot of play action out there because they're hammering the ball with Josh Jacobs. And on the play action, he chucks it deep, man. He has no fear. I love that about him. I love the longest pass this week. He hit the over earlier this season against Detroit. Here it is, a 41-yarder on November 3rd. In a game where he went 23 of 39 for a 273 in that game. I went back and I looked at the last couple seasons against Detroit. He's actually hit the over in 4 of 4 games versus them. So it's not like he has a bad history or anything against this team. Did not matter if he was home or away. This is pick number 1, Jordan Love, over 38.5, longest pass completion, FanDuel Sportsbook minus 114. On the other sideline, we have Jared Goff, the quarterback for the 11-1 Detroit Lions. Now, not a lot of people talk about his home and away splits, but I do. Something I've been talking about ad nauseum for 2 years now. This goes back 3.5 seasons with the Lions. Goff actually averages 2.2 passing touchdowns per game at home. On the road, 1.1. Now we get to apply those home and away splits as the Lions are at home on Thursday Night Football. Earlier this season against Green Bay, he only threw the ball 22 times, just didn't need to throw it. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs do what they do often. They racked up 150 or so rushing yards, a touchdown on like 30 carries. So they just didn't need to throw it. Could that happen again this week? Sure, absolutely. But we are seeing Goff throw the football a lot more and be pretty darn good with it lately as well. 21 for 34, 221, and 2 tutties. He had 26 for 36, 269. Somehow no scores against Indy. 24 of 29 for 412 and 4 touchdowns. That's a nutty video game-esque stat line. Had 240 and 2 against the Texans, and then there you go, just 145 and 1 on only 22 attempts, 15 attempts the game prior, 25, 18. Like, they are throwing the ball more. As you saw, a stretch of 5 games at 25 or fewer pass attempts, 6 games in fact, and then last 4 30, 29, 36, and 34 pass attempts. So the pass attempt volume is up, and there it is. His line this week is at 30.5 for a reason. I think he does throw it a little bit more. In fact, you'll see when I start looking at the other players, the types of plays I like is indicative of the fact that I think Goff will throw 2+ touchdowns this week and throw the ball quite a bit against this Packers team. Anyways, let's take a look at some other plays here. Keep this in mind, 2+ passing touchdowns in play. Best odds, -110 DK. All right, let's take a quick peek at the Pick'em Underdog app as I like their projections over there. We will also go back and start looking at their running backs, wide receivers. We got Montgomery, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Sammy Laporta, Tucker Kraft. I've got a lot of players I want to talk about for tonight's Thursday night game, depending on when you're watching this. Jordan Love, let me grab these lines and see if we can make one over there. 38.5, 39.5 over there on Underdog, and we can also plug in Jared Goff. I did see this one this morning. There we go. All right, so next up would be Montgomery. So let's type in Montgomery. We got D-Money here. His rushing yards, longest rushing and receiving touchdown, 0.83 multiplier. So let's move on, and we'll come back to this as we do our video and see if we can make a flex 5. David Montgomery. Now, I wanted to show you the receptions for the first thing we look at for his player card. He's had 3+ in 5 of the last 7 and 3 straight games. Against Green Bay, he also had 3 receptions, 23 yards receiving. He has been catching the ball more, shockingly. Rush attempts last game, 21. It was the second highest he's had on the season. Had 17 against Green Bay earlier this season for 73 yards. Did not score in that game. By the way, it was the first time in 2 years that Gibbs and Montgomery both did not score in a football game last week. Unfortunate for all us bettors on those running backs to score, at least one of them to score a touchdown. I think going back to the well this week, probably an ideal play, although the odds are still juiced like crazy. Keep that in mind. Maybe parlay one of those guys with the Lions money line, I think is a fine idea. However, I am moving over to the receiving yards prop. Look at David Montgomery. I missed it last week, should have jumped on it, thought about it, and decided against it. But here I'm on it. I'm not going to sleep on it again. He's been over in 5 straight. He's been over in 9 of the last 11 games. Take away that first one. Over in 9 and 12 in the year, averaging 23 yards receiving per game. And there's data that backs this up. He is against the Green Bay Packers, who are giving up the 8th most receptions per game against running backs and the 6th most receiving yards per game against running backs. And again, we saw this earlier this year against Green Bay, 3 receptions for 23 yards. Over 14.5 receiving yards, an odd play to make it. Pick number 3 for David Montgomery. I like it. Moving on. Let's look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. No. We want Jahmyr Gibbs. Let me open up his player card. I am going to bring it up on the odds finder. Typed in his name. As you can see, all his markets are here. And I'm going to type in Gibbs. And I grabbed his player card. And there we go. You're looking at my play. I love this one. Best line, actually 64.5. Let me pull that one up for you. Rushing yard market, and bam, FanDuel -114 to the over at 64.5. I freaking love this play. Honestly, probably one of my favorite plays of the weekend, on Thursday night. He's been over of 10 of 12 games this year, including earlier against Green Bay, where he had 65 on 11 carries. Now, it was the least carries that we have seen Jahmyr Gibbs have in a single week on the entire season. I think the pendulum swings back this week after a heavy workload for Montgomery, who came into the game questionable with a shoulder injury. So, of course, logic thrown out the window. He gets the 2nd most carries on the season for himself. And the Jahmyr Gibbs churning out basically 10 yards a pop, only gets 9 touches on the ground. Made no sense to me. But I think the pendulum swings back. The rushing yard still hit the over because he's an absolute video game running back. So give me Jahmyr Gibbs over 64.5. This is actually my favorite play of the entire game. All right. So, it's the 4th pick I've brought on screen. That's because I'm going through the players in order of position and team. It doesn't mean he's my least or my 4th favorite. No, he's actually my favorite pick for Thursday Night Football. If I make any of these officials, you'll know down below in the description section. I'm telling you right now, there's a promo code and a link for you for my VIP stuff. You guys can get access to everything, my picks, my Discord, my staff, my website for $10 and $15. Those links are down below. Please, by all means, you want to support me if I have helped you in any way at all, financially or knowledge-wise, or heck, I've just entertained you. There you go, my friends. That's a nice way to scratch my back as well. So we'll go with Jahmyr Gibbs, my favorite play for Thursday Night Football. There's a few reasons. I mean, we're not just talking about how much I like him because of the game logs, despite the fact that in 11 straight games, he's had 63 plus, which is pretty freaking crazy. We are just watching an opportunity here kind of unfold. And it's really this. I mean, the game logs are cool. They're fun. They're easy to talk about. They're pretty on screen, all that green. But it's right here for me. Like, this is all that matters to an extent. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more for you mobile watchers. It's the 9 carries last week versus the 21 for Montgomery. And I think you saw the week prior, right? I mean, Gibbs had 21 carries. It was a short week, and Monty had left the game in the, I think, early second quarter, which is why Gibbs racked up 21 carries. If I read the tea leaves correctly, I probably would have realized the fact, and by the way, we still hit the over in his rushing yards, so it didn't matter, but I probably would have realized, okay, short week, Montgomery gets activated for Thursday Night Football. You know what? They probably do try to protect Gibbs a little bit because he had 24 touches 4 nights ago, right? And then he goes out there, plays very well, but they only give him 11 touches. Montgomery gets a ton of touches, 24 in fact. And now this week, I think it kind of swings back to the norm. I think Montgomery gets 14, 15, carries. I think we get, 12, 13 or so for Gibbs. So this over, I love it. I think it's a phenomenal play. And before we move on to the wide receivers and tight ends, I need your help real quick. If you're enjoying this video and all of this information, like the video. That is such a cool way to help me out. It's very simple. Just scroll down and just boop. Just boop your phone right now for me. And if you're on PC, you can see the thumb. You're making the conscious choice not to click it. Click the up one, by the way. I appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe 7 days a week. NFL, NBA, videos, or live shows. I am live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday on my channel. And then the other days I do videos. I try to make sure I keep you all fed. And you can see the picket right here, my friends. I mean, there's a reason why people watch. And there's a reason why there's 9,000 people in my Discord. Let's just say that. You could grab that picket. You can grab my VIP links down below if you want. But honestly, make sure you just subscribe to the channel, and I'll try to hook you up with some W's on the show. Let's go full screen for a hot second. Give me a chance to drink some coffee while I talk. We ain't trying to do 45 minutes of recording and another 4 hours of editing today like last week. Golly, that was a brutal one. So anyways, Amon-Ra St. Brown not getting the targets this year. Just so frustrating for a guy who had a career year last year, who previously the year prior had a career year, continued to get better, and everybody thought, all right, we're taking another step forward. It ain't happening. It hasn't happened. They're just not throwing the ball enough this season. So I don't know what to do with him other than maybe sprinkle on the receiving touchdown. Honestly, truly, that's it. He had a touchdown in 8 straight games, 9 total touchdowns, has not scored in 2. And if there's anything we all understand at this point in our betting journey is that when you get a guy or a gal, a WNBA, whatever we're betting on, honestly, who usually is good for something and then goes through a few games without that something, the pendulum usually swings back. And you end up getting, by the way, the Pick'em Optimizer is back. If you wondered about that, those are live. You guys can do all your Pick'em optimizing on the site again. So there you go. It's back and it's live again. Anyways, I'm Amon-Ra St. Brown, my friends, plus 114 for an anytime touchdown on FanDuel. So I think that's like my lean. Honestly, I don't feel like great about it. That's about as good as it gets, truly. I don't know what else to play to pick or play here. Maybe potentially just something like the long reception where you don't have to depend on a lot of catches or a lot of yards. You just need one good one, and there you go. So that's kind of my angle. I don't know what else to do with it. Let me slide over here and see if I have the Gibbs rushing yards and can add that to it. And yeah, I can. So we'll grab 59.5. Why not? We'll come back to that. Probably put 66.5 in there as we get going. And let's keep moving on, see what else we can do. And again, over here on Underdog, code Donuts, get up to $1,000 deposit bonus cash. JMO, that's right. Not everybody. I had somebody reply. I called Jameis Winston JMO in my Monday night video. And of course, that's the one reply I get from somebody. My sincere apologies. When you're recording videos nonstop, this stuff just comes out. It just rolls off the tongue. Jameson Williams, that's right. We've called them that all season. I understand their nicknames, but I'm going to pronounce them wrong, and I'm going to use the wrong ones at times, and that's life. Jameson Williams, receiving yards, bounce back spot. Looked bad last week. Had 7 targets and crazily had 5 catches and only somehow 28 yards. If he gets this type of volume, the receiving yards is hitting more often than not. I also like the long reception bounce back spot. If you're going to get this many targets, Jameson Williams is often going to take it. He's going to take it on a friggin' 12-yard in, and he's going to cut up field and just outrun everybody for another 30 yards. So, J-Mo, I'll take him for longest reception this week. I like his receiving yards this week. I don't care what you play and how you play it. I think they're all in play, truly. I do. I think this is an interesting spot. It's a bounce-back spot. He had, I believe, like a bad penalty during the game, too. I can't remember what happened off the top of my head, but something happened with Jameson Williams where I remember the coach was upset about it. I can't remember. Maybe you guys can tell me. Remind me in comment section. That will be very helpful. So that's another pick right there. I'm telling you, that's a nice-looking play. You could go with the yards. You could go with the long reception. Let's see what they got over there on Underdog. We'll type in Jameson Williams for the Lions. And, okay, they got the receiving yards over there, so we'll plug that one in. And let's move on. Jaden Reed. I have his receiving touchdown market up here, and here's why. It's a plus 160. For a guy who has caught a touchdown in almost 50% of the games, the Detroit Lions, again, 4th most pass attempts per game in the NFL. Teams are always throwing the football to come back. The targets, the yards, the receptions, they're all down this year compared to last year. So I don't know what you can, rely on here. Maybe longest reception. He does get down the field. So those are probably my 2 angles. It's a long reception. These are leans. I can't even call these like picks. I don't feel good about any of these final several picks here. So I'm going to breeze through a long reception or receiving touchdown for plus 160. Here's another interesting one. Nope. I take it back. Christian Watson, I have no clue what to do here with Romeo Doubs being out again. Dontavian Wicks not doing anything with his playing time last week. Christian Watson, 51 snaps, 47 snaps. He's so boom or bust. And this is what we've seen for years now. So, maybe just the long reception again. If I think that Jordan Love's going to get that long reception this week, somebody's got to catch it. I don't know if I can go to Watson with the tutties, even though he had, I believe, 8 last year. Sammy Laporta, bounce back, baby. He has really kicked it up a notch in the red zone lately, much to the chagrin of some of the other players who have been missing out of those touchdowns. 1, 1, 1, and 2 in the last 4 of 7 games. 2 on Thanksgiving Day. Not getting a ton of targets, not getting a ton of receptions, but getting the high equity red zone opportunities, my friends. So here's why I like it. Not because of these game logs at all, but because watch these odds when I show you Sammy Laporta, not the rushing yards right here. Oh, my word. Caesars plus 270. You're going to give me a plus 270 for Sammy Laporta? Are you joking? Do I have first touchdown market on this optimizer? I don't even remember. Yes, I do. First touchdown. A plus 1,600? I mean, that is just nuts to me. I got to write that one down. Plus 1,600 on FanDuel, potentially worth a sprinkle. Let's look at the running backs real quick. Gibbs is a plus 550, and Montgomery is a plus 475. Man, oh, man. Last but not least, Tucker Kraft on the other side. This man's been scoring touchdowns too, my friends. Had 6 targets, 4 catches, 34 yards against Detroit earlier this season. Did not score. Tucker Kraft also an interesting play, as we are going to show his odds really quickly for you. Best odds for the first touchdown as a plus 1,500. Total touchdowns, a plus 250 on Caesars. Not a terrible proposition. I'm going to write that down as we are live, as I am recording live and trying to do fewer takes. And, I might not be as polished for this show, but it is what it is. I spent like 5 hours the last several weeks recording and editing these Thursday videos. They get a heck of a lot of views, so it's been worth it. But, man, I need some of this time to do some more work and get some more picks out for my members. I've already posted, by the way, if you're wondering, 5 NBA picks right now, Tuesday morning. They went live all before 7 a.m. 5 picks for Tuesday's, NBA Cup night. Now, 5 picks in there, my friends. Grab them down below. Description section is $15. You get 15 premium channels. 10 plus sports are covered. 8 plus cappers, and everything I touch is in there as well, my friends. So Tucker Kraft, I don't know if I can go receptions. I don't know if I can go receiving yards. Maybe long reception. Very similar to Sammy Laporta. Gets those down the seams, play action opportunities because of the strong running games. But honestly, I'm just probably sprinkling on the plus 250 Caesars touchdown over there. Again, my favorite 3 plays, my favorite 4 plays, I'll say this, of the day, I'll read them off for you. Got my notes. Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns, minus 110 on DK. Jordan Love over 38.5 longest pass, minus 115 DK. David Montgomery over 14.5 receiving yards, minus 114 FanDuel. Jahmyr Gibbs over 64.5 rushing yards, minus 114 FanDuel. And just to show you again, one more time, what we were able to find on Underdog, we had Love, Goff, Gibbs, and JMO here. We would need a 5th pick in here unless you run out the standard and see if you have any of the payouts, boosted or discount. If you enjoyed today's video, like the video, and please subscribe to the channel 7 days a week. I'm here, videos and live shows, 2 VIP links down below. You won't get much better value out there. If you want to use my website, that's $10 down below with the code. And if you want the VIP Discord so you can get access to this type of picket results, you can get access to that for $15 down below with the link and code. All right. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's get paid.